Hi everybody, welcome to G4G here on YouTube. Today we're going to talk about some big news in two different games. So let's get right into it. First, the quick news in Battleborn. So for those of you who don't know, Battleborn is a game by the people who make the Borderlands series. Battleborn was in beta around this time last year. As a matter of fact, about a year, maybe 13 months ago, there had been at least one Battleborn weekend where you could play the game. First weekend was rife with sitting in a queue even to get into the PvE story games. But it was playable, it was fun, learned a lot about the game, decided I was definitely going to come close to being a Phoebe main, as Phoebe was just utterly ridiculous. Huge amounts of damage with her, really obnoxious character, so much so that she took a bit of a nerf, but Phoebe was definitely one of my favorite characters, and along with Oscar Mike, who is a very simple character, similar to Soldier 76, just a straightforward soldier character, generic FPS, and there was a few that I played around with. Well, as time wore on, there was a few more weekends, and I got to play more Battleborn, got the girlfriend into it for a little bit. She loved Oscar Mike, loved his quips. Wasn't really going to spend money on it, but while it was free, enjoyed playing it with me, and really liked Marquis. She was a big sniper, really loved Marquis, as it's called in the game. Well, then the game was set to release right around the time Battleborn did. As a matter of fact, it released about a week ahead of, Overwatch. It released a week ahead of Overwatch. And the price tag was a full-blown game's price tag. Overwatch was coming in both under and above Battleborn. The generic-y, kind of straightforward version of Overwatch was below Battleborn's price tag, but the more expensive edition, with a few more things in it, like some pre-order skins and everything, that came in above it. Well, I managed to get both Battleborn and Overwatch. They'd been on pre-order for some time. So, Overwatch quickly overshadowed Battleborn the moment it dropped. It had a week, and then that week didn't really do enough to save Battleborn from the juggernaut that is a Blizzard game. Battleborn had promotion material, Overwatch had promotion material, but Blizzard, the way they handled the Only Watch beta period, as it was called, really did the game a good service by putting it in the hands of limited people. It drove you to a frothing frenzy to get a hold of the game. And when you would have those open weekends, you would dive in there at 90 miles an hour, so happy to get just a morsel of the game. And then you just sat and cried and watched as just streamers had it. And there was competitions. And you're like, there's a comp and I can't even play the game yet. Fuck. And then it dropped. And it was like right to the stores and the downloads, and everybody got it. And then Battleborn kind of became the redheaded stepchild and fell in the background a bit. It was a great game. It's a fun game. When you can actually get people to play it, Battleborn is fun. But what started to happen as the community waned a little bit, more and more hardcore, stick-with-it Battleborn people stuck with it and achieved high levels on their accounts. Whereas some of the more casuals, kind of disillusioned with the game, fell behind. So if you did get into some PvP, you kind of got raffle-stomped by, like, you're going in at account level 20, and you're going in at, like, capped 100s against you. And the skill gap was pretty bad. The account gaps were pretty bad. And Battleborn just continued to suffer more and more. Then they introduced the cash shop in a game that was already a full-priced game. You could say, well, Napalm Overwatch has that too. But you don't have to buy the boxes. Play Overwatch long enough, you don't have to buy boxes. You will generate them fairly regularly. There are the limited events like Halloween and the Olympics, where if you didn't play enough, you might be tempted to buy the boxes to get the stuff that you're missing, but it's either a time or money thing, almost like a free-to-play model. It's either time or money's the big currency. Battleborn didn't need to do it, and they did, and that further hurt the community and split them up. So now, Battleborn is trying to recoup their losses a little bit. It's still up in the air as to whether or not it's going to go free to play. Despite the number of price reductions along the way, it's never really rebounded, minus maybe the one day they said, let's have a community Battleborn day. Everybody get back in and play. Battleborn said, you know what? That's a good idea. We'll reward you for it. If you logged in during that weekend, you got some stuff. I did. Well, now Battleborn's finally coming around and saying, guess what? This winter, all of the existing Battleborn characters, all 25 of the core ones, will be available. Previously, this is how it went. If you got the pre-order, you were guaranteed the heroes to come. Sort of like a Founders Pack, except there's no Founders Pack. You had to buy the fucking game. You were guaranteed all of the future heroes. By what they would do is, when the character would drop, they would give you a key. You could spend the key on the new character, and this is actually the season pass where this comes from. So this is what I had. All 5 new story operations, instantly unlock 5 new heroes when they release, additional skins and taunts. You could still get stuff from Battleborn Tap, kind of like Evolve's game, or it ties in through Shift, and you do Battleborn Tap and you get stuff in Battleborn. This is the cash shop, Platinum. But this is what I got. The Digital Deluxe, which included the Standard Edition and the Season Pass. So, yeah, some taunts for these characters. Skins for Oscar Mike, Miko, Caldarius, Phoebe, and Arendi. 3 legendary gears, golden pedestal during the character select, golden Battleborn logo on the title screen, and the Season Pass. Let's see if they mention what the price is now. Shortly after it was released, the game immediately started dropping in price, which really hurt the community, because it was like a big fuck you to the people who bought it at full price. We're like, are we going to get any, like money back on this? And as you can see here, recently mostly positive, but historically mixed. Battleborn still clocking in at 60, or actually 75 for the Digital Deluxe, and it's now saying 60 for full Battleborn? That's odd. I don't know why it says that. It dropped the price at one point. Those who like the game are definitely pretty fanatical about it. They really, really like the game, and they really, really stuck with it. I am surprised. Let me just go to the Standard Edition here. No, not to Brazil. Platform, PC, retailer. Let's go for the 2K store. Let's see what the 2K store says for it. Okay, so the 2K store is saying the default game is $40. Again, that's still not the drop in price that we saw when it went down to like 25. I guess it was a limited time sale. I thought maybe it was more of a permanent drop, but okay, so the game is still relatively full price. Now keep that $40 in mind over there, because we're going to come back to that a little bit later in the video. So you could take that key and use it to unlock the new character that was being released, like a HOTS character or an Overwatch character. Or you could take that key and go for somebody you hadn't unlocked yet. Somebody, say, like Galt, who is locked behind a PvE story mode thing. It was up to you. I have been using my keys all along the way to unlock the new characters, figuring I'll, maybe eventually get to the story character. Well, now apparently I made kind of a smart choice, because all of the base people are going to be unlocked once you complete the prologue.
The previous challenges that gave you a character will now give you a skin. Story mode missions will have more guides and tools to lead you through various areas of the game. There's going to be new training modes, and there's going to be a dojo. Returning player enhancements. We've talked to many players who put hundreds of hours into the game. Whether you're coming back for a second time or 200th, we're all about replayability. We listen closely to your feedback. Here's some big moves. User interface is going to change. It's going to be cleaner, more vibrant. A draft mode. Daily quests. Command rank and character rank increase going up to 150. 20 for a character. Updated in-game economy. We've overhauled the credit system and how loot packs are made available, particularly in competitive multiplayer. Credits will now accumulate faster from public PvP, making it more easier to grab them. But for leavers, they're out of luck, no rewards. Loot packs. All loot pack variations will drop in story mode missions, but only one type of loot pack will be available in the marketplace, the core pack. PS4 Pro support. If you have a PS4 Pro, you can either play at 1080p at 60 FPS or 4K at 30 FPS. This Thursday, yesterday, there was a stream about it. So I don't know when this will be going into effect, but it will be great when it does, and I will probably give Battleborn a little bit more time when it happens just to see if the queue time has gotten better. So, on to story item number 2. Gigantic is now in open beta on the Xbox and the Windows 10 store. It, through Arc, is not available in its current form. So, if you look at Arc and try to log in, you'll hear the old music, and it'll say you can't get into the game. So, if you ever were invited to a beta on Arc, it's not going to work that way. You have to come in through the Windows 10 store or the Xbox. Now, good news is progress is definitely synced. I played one game as Volden on my Xbox One, and I'm now level 2, I've got my credits and everything like that. It's unfortunately a shame that my progress during the regular betas have been wiped. There's good news and bad news right now about Gigantic. So let's get into the good news. It's available and the sync is in place. This is my Xbox One progress, which is pretty cool. You have tutorials and training videos, fortune cards are still in place. You have practice, and we're going to jump into practice really quick. They've made some UI adjustments that you now clearly can see what abilities are tied to what buttons. And I'm so happy about that, because when I get into a character that I didn't really know, I don't necessarily know what each keybind, or console button, I should say, controller button, was doing. But when I played on Voden earlier, I very clearly knew exactly what was going on my Xbox One controller. So, if you look down at the bottom, you'll see that my left control will bring up my upgrade menu. And, alright, so I think that's it. Now, if I jump out into the field, you'll notice that down at the bottom, it very clearly says my left click is my straight arrow, which is pretty cool. My E is the well, my Q is the decoy, and my right click is the poison, which he dropped at my feet because I haven't changed the spec of it yet. When I was playing earlier, I did the homing poison, and homing poison for Voden is definitely something you want to take a look at. But this UI is much nicer than it ever was, because I really know what I'm getting into now. And I like that. That makes me happier, because if I got into a character that I didn't really know well, I wouldn't necessarily know what each of the binds did. Now I think it's very clear. You get timers. You can even get timers on the reticle themselves. So you can play it with a controller, which means PC or Xbox, you're going to be used to everything exactly the same way. Skill cooldowns on the reticle, game tips, power events, show chats and pings, ping filter, upgrade interface, whether you toggle it or hold it. On the Xbox, I think toggle is how it is, but on the PC, it's hold. Force window to the front on match found, I think that's good, because that'll let you minimize the game, but if something pops up, like say you're watching a YouTube video, and you get in a match, it'll bring it to the front. Excellent, excellent setting. I applaud them for doing that. I think that's great. Video compared to the ARC version is much better. It still has a solid border on the top and left, but at the bottom and the right, it still goes off screen, and I don't know why that is happening. Texture detail, still pretty solid. Graphics high. This is one that I think most cards can handle pretty much on high. It's not a particularly graphically intense game, but I might drop that down to 8. Now, the bad news. The Founders Pack. Remember when I told you to keep that $40 in mind for Battleborn? Well, I've got something to show you guys. The Founders Pack is $40. I'm really disappointed in this. The reason why I'm disappointed in this is a comparison to Paladins. When Paladins was in beta, Paladins had a $20 Founders Pack that said all of the characters going forward are going to be yours. You're going to get a skin for Fernando, a weapon skin for Fernando. At the time, it was called a skin. Now the game has pieced it out into a armor skin and a weapon skin. It's actually 2 pieces now. You're going to get a new mount, and you're going to get like all the characters going forward. If we drop a new character like Maldamba, it's yours. You don't have to unlock it. Amazing value for $20. You got a bunch of chests. I feel like that was great. It was very giving. It was very Santa Claus-y. This, I feel, is very Scrooge-ish. Maybe this has to do with the fact that this is Perfect World's influence or something, but PWE teamed up with Motiga supposedly for the Windows distribution. Everybody kind of sighed when they heard that. They're like, well, there we go. PWE is going to kill this fucking game. Hopefully they don't, but I don't like a $40 price tag for this game. Whereas I think I got an amazing steal of a deal with Paladins, I think this is too much. Here's why. Gigantic comes at a time where it's one of the last ponies in this genre's race that's been going on now. So we have Paragon that's been accessible for a while. We have Battleborn. We have Overwatch. We have Paladins. And now finally Gigantic is getting out of the hands of the closed people. This game isn't new. It is actually considerably old at this point. I started playing this during either the cold weather of 2014, either very late 2014 or very early 2015. This game is now over a year old that I've been spending time with it. And I enjoyed it. There were many, many nights, early mornings, where I was downstairs playing this on my Xbox One. I had fun with certain heroes in the game, and I'll go through the ones that I'm pretty familiar with over here. So, collections, actually we can do it from shop. So, I've played a decent amount of Knossos, like one of Taito. I've done a lot of Trip. I've done a lot of Amani, I've done a lot of Odins, and I've done some Zenobias. The rest I really have not touched at all, because originally in the beta, everybody was available. So I had at least a reasonable repertoire of characters that I knew how to play well. And I was never forced into playing somebody I just didn't really know. Now, as you can see by this little pie, these are the ones available in the current rotation. Vodin, Taito, Margrave, Knossos, and Zenobia over here. Missing is that abominable Yeti snowman guy who appeared for a little while in the beta and was gone. Supposedly it was like some kind of dev test. Oh, it looks like Charnock is available too. So there was supposedly some kind of like dev test or something going on, and he was out in the wild for a while and then disappeared. Whether or not we see him again as an expansion character, maybe. Well, right now you either spend the money to unlock somebody, or you go ahead and play the ones that are available on rotation. In one match, I earned 370 crowns, so I'm not even close to anybody here that I would want. And I don't understand some of the pricing structure. Knossos and Beckett are kind of basic. Vodin is pretty basic too, but he has combat utility with some a heal spring that he drops at his feet. These two are fairly identical in their capabilities. Pretty big price difference between the two. Like, Amani is very specialized. He's very specialized. That kind of makes sense that they're expensive, but I don't really know why there is such a major difference between these prices. Like, Vidasi's kind of a healer, so is Zenobia. I don't really know what they're going for. I guess I think what they're doing is their basic combat capabilities, but Sven is just as robust as Vodin. He's got offensive things, he's got heal things. Why is there 4K difference between these two? Or 300 gem differences? I don't know where they're going with this one. So, that pre-order pack, or the Founders Pack, gives you 16 of the launch heroes, 4 future heroes, probably one of them will be that snowman, 2 limited edition skins, Founder status. Well, I don't know who are the limited edition skins. If you click this, you are taken to this page. Maybe it's going to be Taito and Charnock, maybe, I think. I don't like the fact that it's $40. I don't like the fact that it's a very risky $40. Who knows how populated this game is going to be? Who knows about this game? Do you know about it? Have you heard about it? Have you seen press? And like I said, it's one of the last ponies in this race. Comparing it to Battleborn and Overwatch, okay? This is definitely more indie than them. And it's even more indie than Gigantic, because that's being produced by Epic of Unreal Tournament and Gears of War fame. It's probably closer to Hi-Rez's Paladins in terms of its like small studio indie feel, even though Hi-Rez is not really that indie with Smite and Tribes and all that. It can't compete with Battleborn and Overwatch. It's just smaller than that. Plus, it's a third-person shooter, which aligns it more with Paragon. It's not a raw shooter like Overwatch or Paladins. It has a bit of those MOBA elements more like Paragon and a little bit like Battleborn. Now, Battleborn and Paragon have creep, things that do stuff out on the map in waves, and killing them is an alternative way of killing other players. You get stuff from it. This game does not have creep, but its MOBA elements come from the fact that there are points around the map where you can build a creature and they can then later get killed, and if you go and invade where one of your enemy's creatures are and kill it, you can now drop a creature over there. So it has light MOBA elements. I would say way less MOBA than Paragon, a little bit less than Battleborn, and more than Paladins and Overwatch, clearly. I just don't really like the $40 tag for this. Like $25, I would be like, oh, right now I'm clicking it. I'm still probably going to get it just because I would like to be able to play the heroes that I want to play and not have a week where it's like, I know none of these guys, I don't want to learn them, hate them all, like, not interested. That's probably the only reason why I would do it. I don't care about having a founder title or the skins on characters that I've actually never used. I would just like to be able to play the people I want to play and get free heroes when they come out. It's risky. And right now, the reviews are 2.5 stars. Because some people are saying they bought it from Windows, but it's showing up on the Xbox, but it's not showing up on the PC. That's kind of weird because I know my progress from the Xbox has showed up on the PC. So you may want to wait. You may want to wait a few days and see if this gets fixed. Nobody down here has said, oh, they've contacted Microsoft, it got fixed. But there is a person who said, don't panic, where was it? Didn't immediately get my heroes. About 20 minutes or so later, it became active. I'd wait a bit before freaking out. No platform is listed, so here's a well thought out one. Selected the Founders Pack button in-game on the PC version, bought the pack, but it's not showing up on the PC, only the Xbone. Also, I'm unable to group up with friends on the PC version. This is a regression for the game. Playing with your games was possible on previous versions. Very disappointed. Please fix immediately or I'll be requesting a refund and never play the game again. At a value of over $150. It'll go away at the end of the open beta period. The pack contains 16 heroes, all available to future heroes. Unlock the next 4 heroes that will be released throughout the open beta. Imperial skins for Taito and Charnock. Founder status forever. 2 exclusive icons. 16 launch heroes and limited edition skins will be delivered to your account on the first day of the open beta. The remaining 4 heroes and profile icons for founder status will be released at other times. So, there we go. I'm a little disappointed in the price tag on it. Still gonna get it, but I'm gonna feel scared and kind of stressed about it. So, there we go. There is some Battleborn and Gigantic news. Go Gigantic.com to find out about this game. Probably be doing some videos on this. If my channel's had videos on it on the past, now that it's actually in an open beta status, might stream it and play it. So thanks for stopping by the video, folks. Hope it gives you some interesting information on both of these games.